Hello and welcome to a new episode of I Can Do. I am Benjamin Lee. We are continuing on with a new project that I have begun reading through the Bible. Today is Genesis chapter 2. So I will read the text and then make a couple of quick thoughts at the conclusion of the reading. Here we go. Genesis chapter 2. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God finished his work that he had done, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work that he had done. So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it God rested from all his work that he had done in creation. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. When no bush of the field was yet in the land, and no small plant of the field had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain on the land, and there was no man to work the ground, and a mist was going up from the land, and was watering the whole face of the ground. Then the Lord God formed the man of dust from the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground the Lord God made to spring up every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed out of Eden to water the garden, and there it divided and became 4 rivers. The name of the first is the Pishon. It is the one that flowed around the land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is the Gihon. It is the one that flowed around the land of Cush. And the name of the third is the Tigris, which flows east of Assyria. And the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, You may surely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in the day that you eat of it you shall surely die. Then the Lord God said, It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him. Now out of the ground the Lord God had formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper fit for him. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and while he slept, took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made into a woman and brought her to the man. Then the man said, This at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother, and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. So what do we learn about God? God, again, he is a creator of all things, the heavens and the earth. Number 2, Genesis chapter 2 is not a contradiction to chapter 1, but rather it supplements, it gives additional details of the creation account. That's why we have details like in verse 7, where the Lord God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living creature. I find that interesting too, where the best quality of breathing is through the nose. And I don't know if that's because of that or not, but nonetheless, Genesis chapter 2 gives us additional details of what took place in the creation account. Number 3, something that stands out to me is that we see work. That work was from God. Work for man and for woman has been good. Work is something that is good because it is from God. Adam is going to have to use his physical strength, but he also has mental work. He has to name all of the animals. There's something else that's lacking, however, when you think about Adam, and that is there was not a helper fit for him. Animals were not for mankind. And so God, we have this additional detail here, is going to create woman. And this is what we see here. There's not a helper fit for Adam. And so he caused Adam to go into a deep sleep, the first surgery, if you will. And he took one of his ribs and closed its place with flesh. And he created woman. And so we see Adam, the first man, and Eve, the first woman. There was no other man or woman before Adam and Eve. And what we have here in Genesis chapter 2 is the foundation, really, of everything. You think about the home, you think about marriage, you think about husband and wife. And you have these instructions that Moses is writing, or this story that Moses is writing, this Genesis account to the nation of Israel that we'll see as we continue to read the Bible. And so the first man, the first woman, the first marriage, Adam and Eve, the responsibilities that God had given Adam. And we also see instructions. We see commandments from God, one specific command with respect to what they were not to do in verse 17. They were not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So Adam and Eve, they had a choice they had to make, much like we do as well. That is Genesis chapter 2. We will continue next time with Genesis chapter 3. Take care.